My name is Naye, and this is the story of the wedding that never happened.
I never believed life could betray a person so gently and still leave scars that burn like fire. If you had met me 3 years ago, you would have called me lucky. I was 32, living in Lagos, working a decent job as a brand communications executive. And finally, after years of heartbreaks, disappointments, and endless family pressure, I was in love. Real love. The kind that makes you breathe easier. Smile without trying and believe that maybe, just maybe, God has not forgotten you. His name was Dubem. Tall, soft-spoken, with a calm confidence that made people trust him almost instantly. He wasn't loud or flashy like most Lagos men I had dated. Dubem listened. When I spoke, he looked at me like my words mattered. That alone was enough to weaken my guard. We met on a rainy Tuesday evening at a bookshop cafe in Yaba. I had gone there to escape traffic and my own thoughts. And he offered me his charger when my phone battery died. Such a small thing, but that was how it started. Conversation flowed effortlessly about childhood, about dreams, faith, disappointments, and the strange way life sometimes feels scripted by unseen hands. I remember thinking that evening I had never felt so understood by someone I had just met. Looking back now, that should have scared me, but love rarely warns you before it leads you to the edge became of my cliff. Safe place frighteningly fast. Within months, he knew my routines, my fears, even the parts of my past I rarely shared. I told him about growing up in Owerri with my mother, how she raised me alone after my father died suddenly when I was still a baby. That was a story I had lived with all my life. No pictures, no memories, just silence whenever I asked questions. A strong woman, but there was always a heaviness around her when the topic of my birth came up. Dubem, on the other hand, shared that he was raised by his auntie in Enugu after his mother passed during childbirth. He never knew his father either. We laughed about the irony of two half-orphans finding each other in a noisy city like Lagos. Sometimes, I noticed strange similarities between us. Our love for early morning walks, the same scar on our left knees, our shared hatred for pap but love for akara. I brushed them off as coincidences. Nigeria is big, but people say the world is small. When Dubem proposed on a quiet beach in Lekki, with the ocean roaring like it was clapping for us, I cried, my chest hurt. For the first time, I felt chosen. Plans moved quickly. Introduction dates, wedding colors, guest list. Friends admired us. Even strangers would say, "You people look alike," and laugh. I laughed too. If only I knew that fate was laughing harder. As the wedding plans progressed, life around me became a blur of greetings, calls, and congratulations. But inside my chest, something quiet started to shift. It wasn't fear, more like a gentle knocking, the kind you ignore because everything else looks fine. Dubem moved with such ease in my life that it almost felt unnatural. He finished my sentences without trying. He remembered details I didn't recall telling him. Sometimes, when I laughed a certain way, he would pause and look at me strangely, like he had seen that expression deep in his memory. Once, while we were sitting in the traffic along Third Mainland Bridge, a song from the early 90s came on the radio. I absent-mindedly hummed along. Dubem turned to me sharply and said, "You know this song too?" I shrugged. My mom used to sing it when I was small. His grip on the steering wheel tightened. "Mine too," he said quietly. I laughed it off, but the silence that followed sat between us longer than necessary. Even our arguments were strange, not heated, not dramatic, but intense in a way that felt emotional beyond romance. When we disagreed, it felt less like lovers clashing and more like something deeper, something rooted. Friends envied our bonds, but I began to feel watched by coincidence itself, as if life was dropping clues I wasn't brave enough to examine. The first real crack appeared the day Dubem met my mother. She had spoken to him on the phone before, prayed for him, even sent food through me. But this was the first time they would sit face to face. We traveled to Owerri together. The house smelled of boiled yam and palm oil scent of my childhood, wrapping around me like comfort. My mother opened the door smiling until her eyes fell on Dubem. The smile froze, not faded, not changed, frozen. For a second, I thought she might faint. Her hands flew to her chest, and she whispered something under her breath in Igbo I couldn't catch. "Mama," I asked, laughing nervously. "This is Dubem." She didn't respond immediately. She just stared at him, her eyes scanning his face like she was reading a story she had buried years ago. Dubem greeted her respectfully, kneeling slightly, but even he looked unsettled. My mother excused herself abruptly and went into her room, leaving the stew burning on the stove. That night, she barely spoke. She barely ate. Later, when I followed her into the kitchen, she asked me one question that changed the air in the room. "Who is his mother?" I answered casually, not knowing my voice had just stepped onto sacred ground. My mother dropped the spoon she was holding. It clattered loudly against the tiles. And in that moment, fear, real fear, finally found me. I did not sleep that night, not because of wedding excitement, but because my mother's reaction played in my head like a stubborn drumbeat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. I saw how the color drained from it, how her lips trembled when she asked about Dubem's mother. By morning, I knew I could not pretend anymore. While Dubem went out to buy bread, I sat my mother down in the living room. The old ceiling fan creaked above us, pushing warm air around, but sweat still gathered at the back of my neck. "Mama," I said softly, "you scared me yesterday." She avoided my eyes, folding and unfolding the edge of her wrapper. That was a nervous habit she carried since I was a child. "That boy," she finally said, her voice low. "Where exactly is he from?" I repeated what I had told her. "Enugu, raised by his aunt. His mother died during childbirth, and his father is unknown to him." My mother inhaled sharply, like someone bracing for pain. Then she said something that made my heart skip violently. "Nonye, before your father disappeared from our lives, he traveled to Enugu often." The room felt suddenly smaller. My mouth went dry. She stood up, walked to her room, and returned with an old brown envelope that had worn edges and smelled faintly of dust and time. Inside were photographs, black and white, coiled at the corners. My father, younger, smiling, and beside him, a pregnant woman I had never seen. My hands shook as I held the photograph. The woman's face was unfamiliar, but something about her eyes made my stomach twist. "Who is she?" I asked, though my voice already knew this was not a simple answer. My mother sat heavily on the chair as if the weight of years had finally crushed her. "Her name was Ifonaya," she said. "Your father lived 2 lives." The words landed like stones. My mother explained slowly and painfully how my father had another relationship in Enugu before I was born, how both women were pregnant at the same time, how he promised to sort everything out, but instead disappeared when complications arose. My mother believed he had died. The other woman died during childbirth. Silence swallowed the room. "Mama," I whispered, fear crawling up my spine. "Are you saying?" She nodded before I finished. "That boy you want to marry," she said, tears finally spilling. "He could be your father's son." I felt the ground tilt beneath me. Suddenly, Dubem's familiarity made terrifying sense. The shared habits, the scars, the way he felt like home before love. I heard the gate creak open outside, Dubem returning with bread in his hands, while inside me, my entire world collapsed without a sound. Dubem returned with the bread, smiling, completely unaware of the storm that had just erupted inside the house. I could feel my hands trembling as I held the old photograph tighter than I've ever held anything in my life. My mother's eyes were wet with tears, her expression a mix of guilt, fear, and urgency. I could not speak. I wanted to run, to scream. I wanted to just disappear, but I knew I had to face him. Dubem, I said, my voice barely audible. Please sit down. He looked at me puzzled, but obediently placed the bread on the counter and took a seat. I handed him the photograph without saying a word. For a few moments, he didn't understand, and then his eyes widened in shock. Is this? He whispered. I nodded. Mama, explain, I urged my mom. My mother's voice trembled as she repeated the story, this time with Dubem listening carefully. As she spoke, a cold chill ran through me. Every instinct screamed that something was horribly wrong. Dubem's face went pale. He gripped my hand, and I could see the confusion and fear mirrored in his eyes. My mind raced, trying to reconcile the man with the possibility that he might be my brother. The next few days were unbearable. We did not speak much. The house felt empty yet tense, like it was holding its breath. I called an old friend who worked at a DNA testing clinic in Lagos. The thought of confirming the unthinkable made my stomach churn, but I knew it had to be done. Dubem agreed hesitantly, though his pride and disbelief made him stiff. We collected our samples in silence, the air thick with dread. I kept remembering the little coincidences, the same scar on his knee, the way he hummed old songs my mother sang, the way he instinctively knew what I would say before I said it. Suddenly, what I thought was destiny felt like a warning I had ignored. While we waited for the results, every moment together was both precious and terrifying. I could not kiss him, could not hold him, yet I longed to. Love, I realized, could feel like chains when the truth threatened to destroy everything. The phone finally rang. My heart jumped violently. The technician's calm voice said 3 words that made my world collapse. You are siblings. Time froze. My mind refused to process. I stared at Dubem, whose expression mirrored mine. Disbelief, horror, and grief all tangled into one. We had almost taken vows. Almost. The moment the words "you are siblings" sank in, the room seemed to collapse around me. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding louder than any sound outside. Dubem's face went pale, his lips trembling as though he wanted to speak, but could not find the words. I wanted to run, to escape the house, the city, the world, anything to avoid staring at a man who had almost become my husband, but who was also my brother. My mother wept openly. The years of secret guilt and protection finally breaking free. I tried to protect you, she sobbed. I never wanted this to happen. I only wanted you to be safe. I sank to the floor, hugging my knees, feeling the weight of everything. The lies, the coincidences, the love that now felt tainted by fate. Dubem knelt beside me, not touching, not holding, just close enough to breathe the same air. Nonye, he whispered. How could this happen? I shook my head, unable to speak. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in gold and crimson, mocking our pain with its beauty. The wedding preparations, the excitement, the shared laughter, all vanished like smoke, leaving only a hollow ache that seemed to hollow out my chest. We were left with nothing but truth, raw and painful. Days turned into a blur of conversations, tears, and phone calls to distant relatives who filled in the missing pieces of our tangled family history. Our fathers, it turned out, were the same man, an enigmatic figure who had vanished before we were born, leaving secrets in his wake. Dubem and I learned to sit together without pretending, to speak without love as a filter, to process grief and relief and anger all at once. Somehow, life demanded we continue, but differently. We canceled the wedding, we returned gifts. Our friends and families whispered, some angry, some empathetic. But in the quiet, we found a strange, fragile peace. I hugged Dubem one afternoon under the mango tree in my backyard. The air, humid and sweet with fruit, and we both laughed. A nervous, tearful laugh that had nothing to do with love and everything to do with survival. Fate had almost destroyed us, yet somehow it has also given us truth. And in that truth, we found the only thing that could save us. Each other, but as siblings, bound, not by romance, but by life itself, and by a secret that almost stayed buried for too long.